Folks, how long's it been since we've been here? This beautiful Hannibal at the gates, splash screen, nice purple in the background, the sweet songs of Rome 2 playing in our earphones. Man, it's nice. It's been too long. Folks, I had an absolute heyday on my channel back when this game was there. We had tens of thousands of you watching all the time, different campaigns, tons of multiplayer battles. Boy, we had a time. Not to say that we don't still have a great time, but I mean, I'm telling you, it was an absolute heyday when Rome 2 came out, and that was despite the fact that the game was a flaming wreck on release, unfortunately, which we've seen before, obviously. So that's why it's not a surprise sometimes when that happens with CA. However, they stuck with this one for a long time, and it is quite the gem. It's not perfect. I think there's things about it that still frustrate me to this day. However, that said, it is an excellent entry in the historical Total War series. And if I had to pick a favorite historical Total War game, it would certainly have to be this one, with Shogun 2 coming in a close second. Now, that said, I just felt like it's been too long. I wanted to make some Rome 2 content, but I didn't know what to make. And then, out of the blue, I get this email from the legendary Sol Invictus, who's an excellent player in Rome 2, and he says, "Hey, I've got you some replays." And boy, that made my day. I was excited. So, thanks to Sol Invictus, folks, we are about to get to re-experience the magic of a Rome 2 battle. So I will see you on the battlefield. Folks, are you need a new desk for your gaming setup this holiday? Or do you know someone who does? Well, I was just sponsored by eWin Racing with this awesome new 55-inch gaming desk. I did a quick review of it on the channel. Make sure to go check it out. If you do need such a thing, I've got a link that'll get you 20% off. Let's get over to the battle. So this one is going to be on Nemeta, which is basically Rome's grassy flatlands. And it's going to be Suebi versus Tylis. And Suebi was always a bit of a different variant on Barbarian gameplay. Their heavy infantry doesn't stack up quite like most of the factions in terms of, like, you know, hey, bring a bunch of mid-tier heavy swords and then elite heavy swords. The Suebi always had to play a little different. But what they did have is they had these excellent Germanic scout riders, which give them some great mobility. They do have other heavy cavalry options as well, like this heavy melee cavalry here, the Noble Riders. And then they've got some Bloodsworn here and Wolf Warriors, which are pretty decent, you know, lower tier infantry, but they are a lower tier infantry. They're going to deliver heavy on the charge, but they're usually going to be lacking in terms of, like, staying power. So they have to be used properly in order to kind of get the best effect, and they have to be supported. There's Noble Riders supporting this group here, and then over here, this group does not have the support. But mixed in, we've got Wodenaz Spears and Spear Levy, which are going to be able to provide some javelins and sturdy anti-cavalry support. Wodenaz Spears are a really cool medium spear. It's actually an elite unit, the Wodenaz Spear, and it's weird to see elite units run in the medium weight class. That is the case. And then there's some Cimbri bowwomen here as well. And these bowwomen are going to start the skirmishing with Tylis. Now, Tylis is a bit more of your traditional barbarian faction. They have excellent mid-tier heavy swords in the sword followers. They have some other units here too, like these axe warriors, which are nice utility units for a little bit of extra armor piercing. They've got good units like these spear warriors, and I believe that they probably have also, I think they may have Levy Freeman, I don't remember. But the spear warriors are going to be similar. Now they're using slingers to kind of help screen on the front. This is a good way to screen against potential skirmishing from the Suebi. But see, like over here, this slinger is now outnumbered. And it's being threatened with cavalry charge here. And these scout riders are being very aggressive right now. But it's paying dividends. This axe warrior has been damaged terribly. This slinger is going to get hit. And so some really heavy micro right now paying off for Sol Invictus. He is going to lose the scout rider, but he's pulling javelins out of all these units, which can be very useful later. He's also helping to win the skirmish fight, which will certainly be useful. And over here, look at this Celtic warrior just really getting picked at. And interesting that he's running his army in all these different blocks and still managing to keep track of it. It's not easy to do. Now let's talk about what he's going to have to do to win. If he goes head-to-head with this army of Tylis, he's going to get crushed. And it's because mid-tier heavy infantry and heavy sword infantry is kind of the bread and butter of this game in many ways. It's not the only thing that'll work, but in many ways it kind of is. And sword followers hit hard on the charge, they got good weapon damage, and they are a dangerous unit, and then they're going to be backed up by Oathsworn. You can see at least 2 units of those in the back. Now, as far as cavalry goes, we do have some light horse here. Barbarian light horse is pretty quick, and is a good way to disrupt charges. It's a good way to maybe block your own infantry from being directly charged by heavy cavalry, whether it be melee or shock. And they can also be used to ward off, skirmish cavalry if needed. I'm going to see some patient play here from Sol Invictus as he is trying to, like I said, kind of gain the upper hand, force a mistake. And the player from Tylis is trying to be patient here too, but he is taking some pretty egregious losses over here. As those bowwomen got some shots into the flank, whenever the shields aren't out front, it is going to hurt. And so he's starting to feel the pressure, and this is where we're going to see him charge. And obviously he wants to single out 1 or 2 of these and leave the other one in the dust, mop up, and then move on to get the remnant, I would assume at least. And in order to avoid this, that means Sol Invictus is going to have to be good about knowing when to engage, should he engage, and then how to take proper advantage of it. Because like I said, if this fight happens too soon, it's going to go very poorly for the Suebi. Look at that. Woden-ass spears just dropping the light horse. Same thing with the spear levy. Now again, that was all a screening movement. He does not intend to let his infantry in, and what this has done is it has allowed his other flank here really put some pressure over here on Tylis, and it makes me wonder, will Tylis continue to chase this way? Or will they turn and face this other flank that's now a little bit cut off? Almost wonder if he could have got some units and tried to push to see what would happen if he could have isolated this flank, but a bit of a danger here with that noble rider around. If his units get spread out, that noble rider can punish them pretty badly, and he's very short of cavalry at the moment, his own light horse having taken some pretty heavy losses. The bowwomen, I'm going to try and remind myself, so they're at range of 150. Same range for the slingers. Now remember, slingers do have a small shield, so should give them pretty good standoff capability. Archers are going to cause more damage. If you take a look there, missile damage is 35 versus the slingers, I believe, are, only 20. So the archer is going to cause significantly more damage, especially if a unit's unarmored or unshielded. Archers are going to be pretty darn effective in that case. Here comes another play with the cavalry. Here comes the noble rider. There's not a lot of javelins to protect these slingers at the moment, so I can see why the noble riders were brought in, but here comes the javelins. Javelins are the bane of cavalry in Rome 2. Oh, and this may be one of the design flaws that I kind of still disagree with in this game. I think too many units ended up with precursor javelins in this game. Because those javelins are all so effective versus cavalry, it actually makes it really difficult sometimes to use cavalry. So I do think that some of the cheaper spear units and sword units should have to give up their precursor javelins, because sometimes they're almost too effective because of those precursors. But I don't know, I'm sure there's people who disagree with me on that, and that's fine. Good old healthy disagreement. Boy, these bowwomen are having a time of it here. They are firing away at the sword followers. That was an unshielded flank shot right there. You can see they have their shield on their left hand. They were getting hit from the opposite side. That expensive infantry can't afford to take this kind of beating. Now, ammunition's certainly not unlimited. There'll only be so much damage that the Suebi are able to pump into these sword followers, but if they want to win the fight, they are going to have to soften up the Tylisians very significantly here. Tylians? So, yeah, whatever you call them. These scout riders doing a bit of skirmishing with the light horse here. See, the Celtic slingers are moving up. Now, the benefits, obviously, for the Suebi, I almost said Germania, that's be some old Rome 1 days coming out of me. The benefit of the Suebi here with these light infantry is their speed. They're going to be quick. They shouldn't tire out quite as easy over a long run versus the heavier armored infantry. Obvious downside is these guys clearly are not well armored. And so getting into a drawn-out brawl with heavily armored swordsmen is going to be not exactly advisable. Now look at these bowwomen here. They've taken about half casualties there. Wodenaz spears are very potent units as far as defense goes. They have excellent melee defense, but their armor is low. So not exactly, obviously, as well armored as something, but they also do have a special ability here, Cavalry Counter Tactics, where they can really shred horsemen. They also have expert charge defense, so if they are braced against a charge, they'll be doing well. Now we got a light horse on the move again. This other light horse did manage to finally get rid of the Germanic scout riders, and slowly but surely the Suebi are being pushed back. This is a rather large map. You can see it goes on for quite a while further back here. So not exactly backed into a corner. The Suebi are patiently playing their game here. Let's go ahead and hit the fast forward and see what we come up with. I imagine Tylis is not enjoying having to put up with this. And the Suebi actually moved their infantry pretty close quarters here. And looks like they're going to actually make a play. They may just, yeah, they feinted and pulled back. The Wodenaz spears ate the javelins, which sucks for him, but the Axe Warriors were charging the Wodenaz and ended up getting the Wolf Warriors instead, and that is not going to go well for the Axe Warriors. This is actually a really clever tactic. They're falling back through the unit, and unless the Tylis player changed his charge order, they end up getting the wrong charge. Now look at these bowwomen are out of ammunition, so they bring spears into combat. Nice javelin volley there from the spear levy and the sword follower. That was very well done. And then using their fast charge. So fast charge, of course, going to give a nice bonus to these units as they're rolling in. Nice cavalry support there. You can do this with your cavalry. You can charge through your own unit. It looks a little bit wonky, but as far as a solid tactic in the game, it is, and it works. The Bloodsworn are cutting through over here. The Suebi got a very good engagement on this flank, but remember that was the already weak infantry, and now we're getting some of the big boys coming in here. So we got some more Axe Warriors, and then we've got some Oathsworn, Celtic Warriors, and there's more Sword Followers headed this way. Comes some Wolf Warriors. The Suebi general got a little bit cooked there up against the Oathsworn general, but he did a good job of blunting that charge before bringing in his own Wolf Warriors to countercharge there. They've popped off their pride from the general, which is going to do extra AP damage in the surrounding. Suebi do have some really interesting general abilities if they use them properly. The bowwomen are still dealing a lot of death. The sword followers here. Wodenaz spears unloading their javelins into the sword followers. The sword followers didn't get a charge. That's going to cost them big time. Here, I like how the spear levy are breaking the charge for the Bloodsworn. That should be a nice 1-2 punch, actually. The Noble Riders are still doing a good job here of cleaning things up. That Axe Warrior is going down. Let's check out the enemy Oathsworn General. It's down to about half. It looks like the Suebi are going to pull out for another charge. You can do this with them. You can kind of use them like shock infantry. See what happens here. Yeah, so you can see a lot of cycle charging going on for the Suebi right now. This is a good use of their high charge. And it can be done when you use a unit to fix and the other one to cycle charge. The Noble Riders are helping to facilitate extra charges as well. But see, these slingers, they have more ammunition, and I told you earlier that they don't do their damage as quickly. But if left late into a game, they're dangerous. Nice use of the bowwomen here who are out of ammunition. They're going to give those slingers fits in melee. The bowwomen are pretty decent melee combatants. And then see how the enemy general gets engaged. and then the Suebi are counter-charging after it's engaged. This is definitely a good way to use their charge and armor-piercing values. And they're piecing away at that Oathsworn. Getting some light horse charges on this flank against the Spear Levy and the Bloodsworn. Again, the Bowwomen coming in clutch. They do have a bonus versus large with their spear. And light cavalry is not going to like fighting against that, especially when they haven't gotten a charge. That's going to be a nice cleanup for the Bowwomen. It's a brutal fight, and the Suebi, very patient job picking apart Tylis early. But you're seeing the challenge now. These Oathsworn are very tough customers. Oathsworn have very good weapon damage, a fair bit of its armor piercing, and they also have very high melee attack. Their leadership is also quite high, so for this unit to already be in the yellow surprises me. Because you can see over here, we still got the general in the green. You can see they're laying the lumber here. 150 something kills on that Oathsworn. 108 on the other. Very tough units. But again, I have to say, very nice job done on dealing with all the sword followers here by the Suebi, because again, a headlong engagement would have just been suicidal. Suebi could not go head-to-head with all those sword followers and then have it turn out to be a good day. Looks like Headhunt in use again here. It's a special ability that gives the Oathsworn a whole lot more damage output, but it comes at the cost of fatigue, so it fatigues them faster. Also cost them defense, it looks like. I thought it does. Yeah, there it goes. Should cause extra fatigue. The Oathsworn units are beginning to waver. So the Suebi are going to pull out a victory here. It's going to be a close victory. Very nice finesse of the Suebi faction here by Sol Invictus. Impressive play. This is not easy to do. And you can see, look at this, the Suebi almost falling apart here again in the face of the Oathsworn. They went the general, so that'll probably do it. But those Suebi units were struggling. Get rid of that Oathsworn. It has 210 kills. Powerful units. Excellent battle. It was a Pyrrhic victory for Sol Invictus against Philippe, and a fun battle, to say the least here. Those Oathsworn, I told you these guys were tough, and they proved it there on the field of battle. But again, look at the patient units, or use of these Khemri Bowwomen. So getting some nice kills, and then I love how they were kept and charged in late in the battle effectively too, not just thrown away, right? Warding off light cavalry, working around the flank and coming after the slingers. So an excellent play with those, and well done altogether. There were 5 sword followers. That's a lot of very good heavy infantry. And there was a lot of good support units here too with light infantry, Celtic warriors, spear warriors, axe warriors. This was a lot of infantry for the Suebi to deal with. And they managed to do it. Now, again, the benefit of the Suebi units is they typically hit hard on the charge. They're usually low on armor, good with speed, and they kind of work that specialty. And splitting them up into wings here was a good way for Sol Invictus to try and play to the strengths of the Suebi, right? Hit and run until you're ready to take that fight the way that you want it. And then the cycle charging also was very important. Look at these cheap Bloodsworn, 237 kills, 133 on Wolf Warriors. Excellent value here on a lot of these units, and well done. And then nice support from the heavy cavalry to disrupt formations, cause extra death to the light infantry on the charges. Anyway, great battle. Appreciate Sol Invictus sending this one over. He sent another one too, so if y'all enjoyed it, make sure to go down in the comments, tell me if you want to see the other one, and then hit the thumbs up button, and I will try and get you some more content from Rome 2 in the future. Like I said, this was a real gem for me to be able to come back to, so I appreciate Sol Invictus, and I will see you all soon with some more action in Total War Rome 2.